Welcome, welcome, welcome to Gout Gourmet. I'm so glad you could join us today. Whether you're navigating life with gout yourself, perhaps you're caring for a loved one who is, or maybe you're just curious about how, well, smart choices can really transform health. This deep dive is absolutely for you. We know that living with gout, it can often feel incredibly restrictive, can't it? Like you're constantly walking on eggshells with your diet, especially, when it comes to those tricky moments between meals, the pain, the significant mobility issues it can cause sometimes, that feeling that you're missing out on flavor, on spontaneity. These are really frustrating challenges. But today,
Yeah.
we are completely flipping that script. We're diving deep into how strategic snacking can actually become one of your most powerful allies in managing gout. And let me be clear, this isn't about bland restrictions or feeling like you're always missing out. It's about transforming those pain points, those limitations, into real opportunities for wellness, uplifting your quality of life one delicious smart bite at a time. It really is time to discover how snacks can be both incredibly tasty and seriously functional.
That's exactly right. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to get right to the bottom of how snacking really impacts gout management. We'll distinguish clearly between patterns that might actually be harmful and those that are, well, profoundly beneficial. And we'll give you actionable, science-backed steps you can start using, like today. What's truly eye-opening, I think, is that the science has moved so far beyond just counting purines. We're uncovering some revolutionary new understandings that are, frankly, changing everything we thought we knew about gout and diet and how you can proactively take control of your health.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Because for so long, the traditional view, it felt incredibly rigid, didn't it? Almost entirely focused on just avoiding high purine foods. And for many, that meant life felt limited, constantly second-guessing every meal, wondering if one bite could trigger a flare-up. It's easy to feel frustrated, sort of constantly on the defensive. What were the real downsides of just focusing on purines? Why did that thinking stick around for so long?
Oh, that feeling of limitation is completely understandable. And it really points to the core issue with that older model. The truth is, while yes, purines do convert to uric acid, the way our bodies handle purines is incredibly complex. The traditional approach was, well, just too simple. It led to diets that were often unnecessarily restrictive and missed the bigger picture entirely. It focused so much on avoidance, not on empowerment. What's really transformative in the recent research is realizing that snacking, far from being some minor dietary choice, is actually a crucial tool, a tool for proactively managing uric acid levels and, critically, preventing those inflammatory cascades that lead to gout attacks. It's a total paradigm shift. We're moving from just reacting to flares to actively preventing them by understanding the body's metabolism. Things like maintaining consistent blood sugar levels through smart, well-timed snacks can actually prevent the metabolic ups and downs that contribute to uric acid spikes. It's about sophisticated metabolic management, not just reactive avoidance.
That makes so much sense. So when you talk about metabolic fluctuations or metabolic stress, what does that actually mean inside the body? What's happening at a cellular level that's so risky for someone with gout? Because often it feels silent until, bam, a flare hits.
That's a really important question. Understanding it helps you feel more in control, I think. Imagine your body is this finely tuned machine, always trying to maintain balance or homeostasis. When you go long periods without eating, or maybe eat a really large, unbalanced meal, or get that sugar high followed by a crash, your body experiences what we call metabolic stress. On a cellular level, this means things like your insulin levels might spike erratically, your blood sugar goes on a roller coaster, and your cells become less efficient at processing nutrients, and crucially, waste products like uric acid. For someone prone to gout, this instability puts extra strain on the kidneys, making them less effective at clearing uric acid. It also kind of primes your inflammatory pathways, makes them more likely to overreact. It's like putting a sudden, heavy, unexpected load on an already sensitive system. It just creates this environment where uric acid can build up, and that inflammatory trigger gets much, much easier to push.
Wow, okay. So what does this mean day to day? It means the timing of your snacks and what they're made of directly impacts your body's inflammation levels. Some patterns can make things worse, others can actively help reduce inflammation. This really opens up new ways to use diet, ways that actually complement medical treatments. You're not just dodging triggers, you're actively building resilience. Fortifying yourself from within, almost. And think about that classic 3 p.m. energy slump. We all know it, right? That feeling where you just want something quick, often something, well, not so healthy, maybe a sugary drink, a handful of chips. But what if turning that seemingly harmless 3 p.m. dip into a powerful moment for managing gout is not as possible, but actually backed by solid science?
This is what we call the 3 p.m. truth, and it's quite profound for people with gout. That familiar afternoon crash. It isn't just about needing a coffee or a sugar boost. It's actually your body's own internal clock, your circadian rhythm, creating a vulnerable metabolic window. A perfect storm, you could say, for making poor food choices that can seriously increase your risk of a gout flare. Research in chronobiology, that's the study of biological rhythms, shows that usually between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., your cortisol levels, those natural stress hormones, take a natural dip. At the same time, your blood sugar can become less stable, and critically, your body's own anti-inflammatory defenses are at their weakest point. This metabolic window, it really represents either your biggest risk for a flare or your greatest opportunity for proactive management. The science here is really quite compelling. Studies published in leading rheumatology journals show that the NLRP3 inflammasome, you can think of that as your body's very sensitive gout trigger button. It's the key inflammatory complex that unleashes those acute gout attacks. Well, it follows very strict circadian patterns. During these afternoon hours, when your natural defenses are lower, this NLRP3 inflammasome is particularly easy to activate. So strategic snacking during this exact window provides the nutritional support needed to keep things stable metabolically and prevent that cascade leading to uric acid spikes and inflammation. And this isn't just theory. Research shows individuals with gout who experience these afternoon energy crashes without, the right nutritional support are a staggering 40% more likely to have attacks during the night.
40%? Wow.
Yeah, and the connection is clear. The metabolic stress during the afternoon creates inflammatory conditions that then peak at night, which is exactly when gout attacks most often strike, waking people up in agony.
That is just incredible insight. For so long, gout management felt like deprivation. That outdated focus on purines left so many people feeling not just deprived of tasty food, but maybe nutritionally lacking and just, miserable. But this is where it gets really exciting, because this revolutionary science you're talking about shows certain foods can actively help get rid of uric acid and reduce inflammation, regardless of their purine content sometimes. This totally changes the game for what you can eat. Opens up a whole new world.
Absolutely. It truly is a game changer and such a message of hope, of empowerment. Let's talk about the plant protein revelation. Recent, really big studies, we're talking 2024, 2025, with over 122,000 participants, have completely challenged those old beliefs about high purine foods always being bad. These studies found that plant-based proteins, including things like legumes and nuts that were often on the avoid list because they were seen as high purine, actually reduce gout risk when they're part of a balanced diet.
Reduce risk. Even things like beans and lentils.
Yes. The mechanism is fascinating. It's not just about the purine number itself. It's the synergy, the fiber, the phytonutrients, all these beneficial plant compounds. They actually work together to enhance kidney function and support healthy uric acid metabolism. So the surprising truth, your grandmother's lentil soup isn't just comfort food. It might actually be a kidney-supporting, uric acid-clearing powerhouse. This completely revolutionizes snack choices. It offers variety, texture, flavor that people thought were forbidden. You don't have to feel like your plate is boring anymore. And then there's the cherry science deep dive. This is probably one of the most famous dietary links for gout, and for good reason. Cherries are arguably the most studied anti-inflammatory snack for gout. We've got over 15 solid peer-reviewed studies confirming their benefits. There was a landmark case crossover study, really clever design, with 633 gout patients. It found that eating just 10 to 12 cherries, that's a small handful, really achievable over a 48-hour period, cut the risk of a gout attack by an amazing 35%.
Just 10 or 12 cherries. That's incredible.
It is. And it's not just folklore. It's backed by robust science. The magic comes from compounds called anthocyanins. They give cherries that deep red color. These anthocyanins work in multiple ways. They inhibit the KOX2 enzyme, which is the same target as common anti-inflammatory meds like ibuprofen, hitting pain and inflammation at the source. They also block something called NF-key inflammatory signaling, a key pathway that kicks off gout attacks. So they essentially put the brakes on that inflammatory cascade. And maybe most importantly, they directly help your kidneys excrete uric acid more efficiently. It's a natural, delicious, evidence-based way to fight gout. And we can't forget the simple yet profound hydration-inflammation connection. It might seem obvious, drink water, right? But the research shows high water content foods do way more than just hydrate. They actively help reduce inflammation. Think about cucumbers, over 95% water, or watermelon, about 92% water. Beyond the fluid, these foods have compounds that support kidney function, and they provide alkalizing minerals. These minerals help neutralize uric acid, making it easier to excrete.
Alkalizing minerals, like making the body less acidic.
Exactly. They help maintain a slightly more alkaline urine pH, which keeps uric acid dissolved and easier for the kidneys to flush out. Studies even show that people who regularly include high-water foods, like cucumbers or watermelon, in their afternoon snacks experience 28% fewer nighttime gout symptoms. It's a simple, powerful strategy using whole foods to support your body's systems, working together with hydration.
That's just so liberating. These discoveries really do open up a world of tasty, non-boring options for people living with gout. It tackles that old, sad misconception that managing gout means a restrictive, flavorless diet. Now you can actually look forward to snacks, knowing they're actively helping you. So it sounds like we're not just changing the menu, but also rethinking the rhythm of eating. If what we eat is changing, what about when we eat? Does timing really matter that much?
That's exactly right. The when is just as crucial, maybe even more crucial than the what. What's truly fascinating is that timing isn't just a minor detail. It's as critical as the food choice itself. Cutting-edge research in chronobiology has pinpointed specific optimal time windows for snacking based on our body's natural internal clocks, our circadian biology. Ignoring these rhythms, it's like trying to swim upstream. Working with them, that's like catching the perfect wave. Let's break down the optimal snack timing for gout management using scores based on the latest science. First up, morning optimization, roughly 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This window scores a solid 8 out of 10. It's really important. This time is ideal for anti-inflammatory hydrating snacks, maybe things rich in vitamin C, alkalizing minerals. Why? Because eating right during this window helps set up metabolic stability for the whole day. It sets a positive tone for how your body processes uric acid later on. Good choices here. Think low-fat Greek yogurt with berries, handful of fresh cherries with a big glass of water, maybe whole grain toast with a little avocado.
During these morning hours, your body's cortisol levels are naturally peaking, which actually helps with nutrient absorption and supports kidney function. So starting strong preempts later stress.
Okay, so 8 out of 10 for the morning, setting the stage. What's next?
Next is the afternoon peak window from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. This one gets a massive 9 out of 10. This is without a doubt the most critical snacking window for managing gout. Making smart choices here can directly prevent that metabolic stress we talked about, the stress that often fuels inflammation and those nighttime attacks. This is your prime time to intervene. The best approach. Snacks combining complex carbs for steady energy, healthy fats for anti-inflammatory power, and crucially, hydration. Think crunchy veggie sticks with hummus, a few whole grain crackers with a slice of low-fat cheese, or maybe apple slices with natural almond butter. These combos work together to stabilize blood sugar, prevent that energy crash, provide sustained energy, and deliver anti-inflammatory compounds right when your body needs them most. You're turning a potential risk into a huge health opportunity.
Wow, 9 out of 10. That really highlights the importance of that afternoon snack. Okay, what about the evening?
Right, the evening caution zone, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., this scores a 4 out of 10. You need to be more careful here. Why? Because your body's natural ability to suppress inflammation starts to weaken significantly in the evening. Your metabolism slows down, preparing for rest, not heavy digestion. So if you absolutely feel you need a snack, maybe due to hunger or medication timing, focus on things that are very low purine and easy to digest, like a small piece of fruit, say a pear, or a few grapes, maybe a small glass of skim milk, or a calming herbal tea. It's really vital to avoid high sugar, high fat, or heavily processed foods now. They create metabolic stress that peaks during the night when your body is least equipped to handle it.
Okay, caution in the early evening. And what about later at night?
And finally, this is critical for preventing attacks. The nocturnal restriction period, from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. This scores a very low 1 out of 10. The link between eating late at night and gout attacks is incredibly well established. Loads of studies support this. Eating during these hours, especially foods high in purines, fructose, or inflammatory stuff, significantly ramps up the risk of those painful nighttime flares. Your metabolic and inflammatory pathways are just not geared up to handle dietary stress then. Digestion slows right down. So during this period, plain water or unsweetened herbal teas are really the only safe bets. Avoiding food after 8 p.m. is a highly effective strategy for minimizing those awful nocturnal attacks.
So putting it all together for someone living with this day-to-day or a caregiver helping out, the timing principle is crystal clear. Snacking in sync with your body's internal clock is truly transformative. It helps reduce flares, supports joint health. It's about working with your body, not constantly fighting against it. That sounds incredibly powerful.
Exactly. And understanding this also helps us understand things like intermittent fasting and gout. It's a hot topic, but there are nuances for gout sufferers. While fasting can temporarily raise uric acid levels, that's due to breaking down body protein and producing ketones, which compete with uric acid for excretion, these levels usually go back to normal once you start eating again. But the key for safely doing intermittent fasting
if you and your doctor decide it's right for you, is very strategic timing of meals and snacks during your eating window. You absolutely must ensure you stay hydrated and really focus on anti-inflammatory gout-friendly foods. Dehydration during fasting is a major risk factor for gout attacks because it concentrates uric acid. So while IF might have metabolic benefits, for gout, it needs careful planning and medical supervision. This ties directly into the bigger idea of meal timing and metabolic synchronization. Aligning when you eat with your circadian rhythms really does optimize how your body functions metabolically. Like we said, that 2-4 p.m. afternoon dip is a crucial intervention point. Strategic snacking there prevents metabolic stress and those impulsive, often unhealthy food choices driven by low blood sugar or fatigue. And strict evening eating restrictions are vital. Studies clearly show eating within 4 hours of bedtime spikes inflammation markers and disrupts the natural circadian pathways that normally suppress inflammation and allow for repair overnight. That's why consistently avoiding food after 8 p.m., or at least 4 hours before sleep, is so critical for preventing night attacks and promoting better joint health overall.
This is such a shift from just don't eat that. It's empowering you with when to eat, too. Fantastic. Now let's get practical and talk about building that actual gout-friendly snack arsenal. Understanding purines is still part of the picture, but the modern view is broader, looking at the functional benefits too. So what should we be stocking up on? What are the real power players in our snack lineup? Maybe things we overlooked or misunderstood before.
All right, let's break it down by categories, looking beyond just the purine number to the functional benefits. First, we have the undisputed ultra-low purine champions. These contain 0.25 milligrams of purines per 100 grams. This category is your foundation for frequent, safe snacking. Think things like eggs, usually negligible, 0.11 milligrams. Skim milk is tiny, 0.16 milligrams. Low-fat yogurt, incredibly low at 5 milligrams. Most fresh fruits fall here too. Cherries are 17 milligrams. Apples around 14 milligrams. Berries often just 2.5 milligrams. These aren't just safe, they deliver essential nutrients. Their versatility is key. You can have them pretty much any time without worrying about uric acid spikes. And critically, dairy-like milk and yogurt has that unique, proven benefit of actually helping your kidneys excrete uric acid. They're a fantastic, often underestimated ally.
Okay, ultra-low purine champs, versatile and beneficial. What's the next level?
Next up are the moderate but beneficial options in the 25-50 milligram per 100 gram range. This includes many nuts and seeds. Almonds, for example, range from 13-31 milligram, walnuts around 20 milligrams. Now, what's key here is that even though they have moderate purines, these foods offer significant anti-inflammatory benefits that can outweigh the purine count if eaten correctly. They're packed with healthy monounsaturated fats that fight inflammation systemically, magnesium, which is vital for kidney health, and fiber that helps regulate uric acid absorption. However, and this vital portion control is absolutely essential, the sweet spot is about 1 ounce. That's roughly 23 almonds or 14 walnut halves. That amount gives you the anti-inflammatory win without pushing purine limits or contributing to weight gain, which is a major gout risk factor itself. So don't just dismiss them based on a number. Understand their full value profile.
Right. Portion control is key for those moderate purine powerhouses.
Yeah.
What about foods that are a bit higher?
Then we have strategic high-value foods, typically in the 50-100 milligram per 100 gram range. This is where modern science really challenges the old rules. Some foods here, especially certain vegetables and snacks made from legumes, offer such huge overall health benefits that they definitely belong in a gout-friendly diet despite moderate purines. Hummus is a perfect example, made mainly from chickpeas. While chickpeas have moderate purines, hummus as a whole snack delivers multiple gout-fighting compounds. You get fiber for digestion and uric acid management, anti-inflammatory healthy fats from the tahini, and alkalizing goodies like lemon juice and garlic. The point is, the net effect of all these beneficial compounds often outweighs the purine content, provided you manage portions and timing carefully. These foods show you don't have to sacrifice flavor, enjoyment, or broad nutrition just because of a specific purine number. It's about the balance and the overall impact.
This is truly a revolutionary way to approach food choices. Not just what to avoid, but what to actively embrace and how it empowers you. And speaking of embracing, let's dive into the really exciting area of functional foods, foods specifically designed or highlighted for gout management. This is where innovation meets the kitchen.
It's an incredibly dynamic field right now. Let's start with the turmeric revolution. The active compound in turmeric is curcumin, and it works through several pathways highly relevant to gout. Research shows it strongly inhibits that NLRP3 inflammasome, remember, the gout trigger button. Curcumin acts like a natural off switch for it. It also significantly cuts down the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, those signaling molecules that drive inflammation throughout the body. Plus, curcumin might even support healthy uric acid levels through benefits to kidney function. A major review, a meta-analysis of 29 trials, found curcumin supplements significantly lowered inflammation markers in arthritis patients, including those with gout. Its anti-inflammatory power is pretty well documented. Now, one challenge with curcumin on its own is that our bodies don't absorb it very well. You can eat heaps of turmeric, but if it's not absorbed, it won't do much good. But this is where bioavailability enhancement comes in, showing how smart food development works. Certain food combinations can dramatically boost uptake. For example, the healthy fats and tahini, used in that turmeric hummus recipe we mentioned, significantly help curcumin absorption. And get this, adding just a tiny bit of black pepper. The piperine in it can increase curcumin's bioavailability by an incredible 2,000%.
2,000% just from black pepper.
Yeah. It's amazing. It shows how traditional ingredients, combined with modern science, can turn a common spice into a potent, targeted therapy. And if we look at the bigger picture, think about synergistic ingredient selection in something like that gout-fighting turmeric hummus. It's a perfect example of a functional food where every ingredient pulls its weight for gout management. Chickpeas give you plant protein and fiber with acceptable purines. Garlic adds compounds like allicin that modulate the immune system and reduce those inflammatory cytokines. Lemon juice provides vitamin C, known to help uric acid excretion, and has an alkalizing effect. It's not just a yummy dip. It's a true powerhouse of targeted, natural compounds all working together.
That's incredible. A snack that's not just tasty, but also therapeutic. It really shows how far we've come in understanding the food-disease connection. And it makes sense why gout therapeutics is a multi-billion-dollar market and growing. People need solutions, and food is clearly a massive part of that conversation now.
Precisely. And within this growing market, we're seeing an interesting commercial cherry-based product evolution. The market is flooded with cherry products, juices, concentrates, pills, but quality varies hugely. You have to be a smart consumer. The evidence points towards products providing at least 480 milligrams of anthocyanins per serving, and crucially, being free from things like high fructose corn syrup or artificial additives that could cancel out the benefits. Tart cherry concentrate, especially from Montmorency varieties, generally shows the highest therapeutic potential, maybe 3 times the uric acid lowering effect of fresh sweet cherries because the compounds are more concentrated. So if you're buying a product, reading labels and knowing these details really matters for getting results.
Good advice. Be a savvy shopper.
And what's also fascinating is the traditional medicine integration into modern functional foods. Researchers are now actively digging into traditional medicine records, like old Tibetan texts, and identifying herbs with significant anti-hyperuricemic properties, meaning they help lower uric acid. These discoveries are being translated into modern functional foods and supplements. Recent research on plant-based formulas using herbs like Chrysanthemum morifolium, Perilla frutescens, and Sophora japonica shows effectiveness potentially comparable to standard meds, but maybe with fewer side effects. This blend of ancient wisdom and modern science is a really promising path for people looking for natural, complementary ways to manage gout. And looking even further ahead, there's technology-driven personalization. This is really the cutting edge. Advances in genetic testing, like understanding the ABCG2 gene variation, which affects how well people process purines and excrete uric acid, are paving the way for super-personalized advice. Imagine AI and machine learning analyzing your food diary, maybe data from wearable sensors tracking glucose or inflammation markers in real time. This could lead to dynamic snack recommendations, tailored exactly to your body's unique responses. We're moving way beyond one-size-fits-all diets towards true precision nutrition for gout.
The future sounds incredibly empowering, offering a level of personal detail we couldn't imagine before. But for right now, let's circle back to something absolutely fundamental that ties all this together. Something often overlooked but critical for gout: hydration. It's deeply linked to your snacking strategy, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely fundamental. You really can't overstate its importance. For strategic hydration timing, research clearly shows that just drinking 8 to 16 ounces of plain water with your afternoon snacks can significantly boost the benefits of those gout-friendly foods. It helps process any purines, yes, but it also directly supports kidney function, helping them flush out uric acid more efficiently. The water and the food work together, like a team.
So water with the snack, not just generally throughout the day.
Both are important, but with the snack enhances the synergistic effect right when you're introducing those beneficial compounds and potentially some purines. And then there's high water content food selection. This reinforces the idea that some foods do double duty. Crisp cucumbers, juicy tomatoes, leafy greens, they give you very low purines and significant hydration. They count towards your daily fluid intake deliciously. Fruits like watermelon, besides being mostly water, contain citrulline, a compound known to support kidney function, further helping uric acid elimination. These aren't just snacks, they're hydration boosters. Coffee and beverage considerations are interesting too, and may be surprising for some. Long-term studies suggest regular coffee drinking, maybe even 4 to 6 cups a day, is linked to a lower risk of gout.
Lower risk with coffee. How does that work?
The thinking is it might improve insulin sensitivity and also help the kidneys excrete uric acid. So for many, coffee can be beneficial, but again, timing is key. Mid-morning, mid-afternoon, during those snack windows, probably fine, might even help, but late-day coffee can seriously mess with sleep, and good sleep is absolutely crucial for managing inflammation. Poor sleep makes flares more likely.
Right, sleep is foundational. Okay, so we have all this amazing science. How do we make it practical, accessible? For someone maybe dealing with joint pain, mobility issues, or for caregivers trying to help, it needs to be simple, actionable, sustainable. This is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Absolutely. This is about bringing it all together into a clear, doable plan. We can call it the strategic snacking protocol, based on all this research, empowering you to work with your body's rhythms. The optimal daily plan emphasizes precise timing, smart food choices, and consistent hydration. So, prioritize the morning, 6:10 a.m. for stability, with anti-inflammatory hydrating foods. Make the afternoon, 2 to 4 p.m., your crucial intervention time for energy and anti-inflammatory support during that dip, and be strict about evening-night restrictions after 8 p.m. to prevent nocturnal attacks. Now, to make that protocol actually happen day to day, meal prep and planning strategies are essential. Being successful with strategic snacking often means planning ahead, especially if you're dealing with pain or fatigue. Maybe spend a little time on the weekend prepping. Pre-cut veggies for easy afternoon snacks, portion out nuts into those 1-ounce servings, have cherries or that turmeric hummus ready to grab. Doing this removes the decision fatigue during those vulnerable times when you're hungry and might otherwise reach for something less helpful. You're setting yourself up for success.
Preparation is key. Makes total sense.
And it's vital to stress the integration with medical management. Dietary changes are powerful, but they complement, they do not replace, medical treatment prescribed by your doctor. Research clearly shows that smart dietary changes can often reduce the need for medication, improve treatment outcomes overall, and boost quality of life when integrated properly with medical care. It really highlights the need for a team approach. Talk to your doctor, work with a registered dietitian or nutritionist. It's about comprehensive care.
Good point. It's a partnership with your healthcare team.
Exactly. And finally, let's not forget comorbidity considerations. Gout often travels with friends. Unfortunately, conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. So your snack choices should ideally support overall metabolic health, not just focus narrowly on purines. Proven dietary patterns like the DAA-SH diet or the Mediterranean diet are excellent frameworks here. They emphasize whole foods, anti-inflammatory ingredients, balanced nutrition supporting heart health, blood sugar, and uric acid all at once. It's about holistic health, finding foods that benefit multiple systems.
That's incredibly reassuring. This whole approach offers real hope, doesn't it? A clear, actionable path to feeling better. It really demolishes that myth that the gout diet has to be boring or restrictive or that you're just stuck. There are so many delicious, smart ways to take control, turning those pain points into opportunities.
And the research just keeps moving forward at an amazing pace. Looking at future directions and emerging research is exciting. For instance, microbiome research is uncovering how specific bacteria in our gut profoundly influence uric acid levels and inflammation. This suggests that foods rich in probiotics and prebiotics might become future therapeutic tools, supporting what we're calling the gut-gout connection. We're finding people with gout often have imbalances in their gut bacteria.
Fascinating. The gut connection again.
Then there's personalized nutrition technologies. We touched on this: AI, machine learning, wearable sensors tracking biomarkers in real time. This could lead to incredibly individualized snack advice tailored precisely to your body's needs at any given moment. True precision nutrition is on the horizon, and researchers are also identifying novel therapeutic targets. We might see future functional foods designed to target specific enzymes involved in making uric acid or specific inflammatory triggers, offering even more precise nutritional interventions. The potential for food as medicine is just huge.
So, wrapping this all up for you listening right now, what's the bottom line? Smart snacking for gout isn't about restriction. It's about strategic selection, it's about optimal timing, and it's about truly understanding how food impacts your body's natural rhythms and inflammation. The science strongly supports moving beyond just avoiding purines to embracing proactive nutritional strategies that work with your body's clock, empowering you to live better. So for immediate action, let's recap those key takeaways. First, prioritize that afternoon snack window 2 to 4 p.m. with anti-inflammatory hydrating choices. Second, use your mornings to build metabolic stability with alkalizing foods. Third, be disciplined about stopping eating in the evening, especially after 8 p.m., to minimize night attacks. Fourth, focus on whole foods delivering multiple benefits, not just low purine counts. Fifth, stay consistently hydrated, especially with those afternoon snacks. And finally, prep ahead. Make those smart choices easy choices by having healthy snacks ready to go.
Absolutely. This comprehensive approach, blending the latest science with practical, sustainable strategies, really does empower people with gout and their caregivers to transform their health and quality of life. Just remember, consistency is key, and always work closely with your healthcare providers. This is your journey, and you've got some powerful tools now to navigate it.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into smart snacking for gout management. If you found value in our conversation today, please do take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive, and maybe share this with someone you know who could benefit from these insights. Join us again next week as we continue to unpack complex health topics, always aiming to offer you actionable insights for a healthier, fuller life. And remember, relief from gout pain is not just a dream, but potentially a delicious, well-timed bite away.